I don't have the answer. It's just sad.
Yeah. And my answers aren't evolved spiritually. But I digress. It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I am Ramona Ramirez. Hi.
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 We just talked for like an hour, just getting caught up. It's now 9 p.m. and we're finally getting underway, but that's what friends do, you know?
That's what friends do. I was seriously considering texting you earlier and being like, can we do this tomorrow instead? I'm exhausted. But instead, I was like, yeah. And you show up because A, it's your friend. B, you keep your commitments. C, you know you're going to sit down with Margie for 5 minutes and you're going to be completely happy to be here. And it's true. And now I'm in the mood to talk about it because when I came downstairs and was setting everything up, I was like, how the hell am I going to get it up to talk about Lisa and Larsa for a fucking hour when they are exactly what... Like, I know we're supposed to watch these people, but I'm sorry. Lisa Hochstein is, how do I say this and sound like someone that's been going to therapy for 25 years or more? Maybe by stopping, that's showing that I've been going to therapy for 25 years or more. But I find her to be, oh, shit. And see, as I'm saying it, I'm like, yes, and you know what her history is. You know where she comes from. But again, it doesn't seem like she's interested in changing where she came from and what she learned. And so I had no patience for her while I was taking these notes. I don't even have patience for her when I watch the episode just for my own shits and giggles. Yeah, I don't know. She doesn't offer anything redeeming to me. I like watching Heather Dubrow more than I like watching Lisa Hochstein, right? You heard me say it. You heard me say it.
But I'm with you. I'm like, I almost feel like this episode, I was like, well, what is this? Who are these women? What world do they live in? And then I was like, is it because it's in Florida? Is Florida really that much of an outlier that these women are so, they're like, I've never understood more the idiom, you need to go touch grass, than watching this show. I'm like, none of these women, even the ones with the realest problems like Guerdy, she still takes time to be petty and weird on a cruise ship. Like, where is any, just nobody can think outside of the moment. They're like pets. They're just like, here's a toy. I like this. Somebody took my toy away. I hate them. You know, I don't feel well. I'm going to take care of myself. I feel better. I'm going to yell about it. It's like, what? Nobody has a holistic vision of anything at all. And so in this episode in particular, I was like, Team Preston, literally the only person I could get behind on this episode. This child is, thank God for a boundaries king, because I was like, somebody at least made sense to me here and there. And it was our dear Preston, Larsa's son.
Yes. That is such a wonderful point. That's so funny. Okay, to give credit to our West Coast ladies. Okay, not just West Coast. I know that they talk about mental health on Potomac, but for as imperfect Ms. Kyle Richards is, she has a life coach. What she does with him is up to her, but at least she knows, you know, everyone goes to therapy in LA. Not everyone, but you know what I'm saying. Florida is its own little universe, planet, galaxy, and then Miami within Florida seems like it's its own. I have never seen anything like it. I've only seen it on TV. I don't really have a desire to go there either, I've noticed. I don't have a desire to go to Miami.
I've been there. I mean, it's beautiful. But, you know, that the scene at the after party of the fashion show, I was like, that was my experience there. It's like, yes, you're in a room with fabulous. And I'm like, I don't care to have a conversation. Like, I know who these people are. They're high profile, recognizable faces. And I have nothing to say to them. I get it, but I don't belong there. I just don't belong there. I'm not pretty enough and they're not funny enough. There, I said it. So we have nothing in common. I'm not going to turn anyone's head. I'm not in Miami. And they're not going to make me laugh. And like, that's what I love the most is a good laugh with someone.
Yes. I also caught myself, like, I can see how it could sound like I was painting my thoughts about Miami with a very broad brush strokes.
Broad strokes. I feel the same
Broad
way.
strokes.
I'm immediately regretting everything I just said.
Yes, me too. And what I'm saying is I am not interested in the Real Housewives of Miami's reality.
Yeah,
I am not
quite
interested.
Honestly, Fabulous is wonderful because he's like, hello, I'm here to get some gossip about the Housewives of Miami. And I was like, ooh, you would be my friend. So I don't know what I'm talking about. This episode I'm like, I don't know what to talk about because I don't know what the fuck happened. It was insane.
It's like, I remember being younger and, I lived on the east side. I didn't cross over La Brea most of the time on a Friday or Saturday night. But when I did, and I would be on La Cienega, and I would see, like, no one in Silver Lake was wearing a miniskirt that just covered their butt cheeks. And all the women in line looked great. All the men, I could smell their cologne from my car. But it's like, that wasn't my scene. I was probably on my way to, like, the Whiskey or the Rainbow or fucking whatever. But I was not out to go to Hyde or some shit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But Miami, that nightlife, I mean, these women are middle-aged and they're still looking like the women that were in line. I mean, dressing like even flashier. Like, I don't even feel like people dress that flashy in LA. LA's the fucking West Coast, man. It's still the West Coast. So you're nodding. I know you know what I'm saying. But yes, I am not interested in putting on whatever this year's version of the Hervé Leger bandage dress on is to go get dinner with my friends at a restaurant that's like flashing lights and just so much pink chrome and loud music. Not even when I was young did I want that. So that's the Miami that I'm not interested in. I am interested in other parts of Miami. That's what I'm saying.
By the way, I realize I'm so off the mark. That after party was in Milan, for Christ's sake. That wasn't in Miami, Margie. Like, get over yourself. It's 9 p.m.
But
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I did a little background into this designer when I was taking my notes.
I love that Larsa was like, he's a huge name. I was like, well, I don't know anything about fashion, so fuck me. And then I wrote in my notes, ask Ramona. Because is he a huge name? Who is this man? He's so mean. I don't
know. I
don't like him.
I feel like, okay, I could be completely wrong, but you know how Balmain and Balenciaga were like huge with the Kardashians. And they're big in other parts of the world, like Dubai, for example, or Vegas. So I think that he is big in certain circles that don't fit my aesthetic. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I go to like the shops at Caesar's Palace, I like to window shop, but I don't know, like, I'm not going to be going into Versace. Well, okay, what I'm saying is, like, I do love some Versace dishes. I'm not going to fucking lie to you. And I do look at vintage Versace pants a lot on the Real, but like vintage Versace pants. Who gives a shit? That's not why anybody fucking called. Yes, Margie, there are certain fashion circles where he would be, yeah. But it's not my vibe. I mean, it was a
significant, if over 50 looks, like, that's a huge collection. Like, he's clearly got something going on, but I don't know.
And it seems like he shows there every year, because I know that when I was looking up dates, I had to like catch myself. I'm like, wait, you're not looking at September 2025. You're looking at September 2024. So he's got a show coming up in Milan for Fashion Week.
His workroom, that's my
the
language
showroom.
Thank you. His showroom was stunning.
It was a cavern.
That is a rich, he's doing something well for himself, or he's sponsored well, or something's going on. Because I was like, whoa,
he's German, so he's very European. So that's another thing too. Like, again, like, I'm sure the ladies in the Real Housewives of Miami are all about Philip Plein, obviously, or they wouldn't have been asked to walk in the show. I don't think I've ever seen a Beverly Hills housewife where, right, So
No,
I
but
think it just depends.
The clothes were cool, but like not memorable. But again, I'm just so the wrong person I'll need you to be the authority on this because I don't
I
know.
am not an
I thought
authority on
Preston
Philip
looked
Plein,
great.
believe me. I thought he looked great.
Yeah,
I
and
thought
he
he looked
walked
great. He
great.
looked
He
like
did
a
a great job.
model.
He really did. And for his first show
Yeah.
and to be the second body out on the runway, like I would be
Yeah.
shaking. Like that's high
Yeah.
stakes. And
He seemed
he nailed it. He did great.
chill.
Thank God
Yes.
for Larsa, according to Larsa.
Jesus
He
H,
never would have
y'all.
gotten there without her.
Seriously.
Crazy.
All right. So in earnest, let's start. This is the Real Housewives of Miami, Season 7, Episode 2. Miami takes Milan.
Okay.
Yeah, facts.
True.
So we are at lunch at Tanuki with Lisa, Adriana, and Guerdy. And right off the bat, Guerdy and Lisa are teasing Adriana about her new man. I will say that Reddit is convinced that, what was his name? The Marquis, sorry to that man for forgetting his name. They're convinced that he was hired. He's a hired boyfriend. And I don't even know if they're necessarily referring to him as an escort, which, listen, two consenting people, I don't give a flying fuck what you do. Both consenting. That's all I have to say.
I can see that. Sure, why not?
Yeah, it was entertaining to read those threads. And also, is it beyond the realm of possibility? No, not at all.
No, certainly not.
So they tease her for a few minutes and she's like eating it all up and she's, joking about French serum, lol, 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 double entendre, whatever. This is a very Adriana light episode.
I was fine with it. I was fine with it.
And then they immediately pivot to gossiping about Alexia's bombshell news about Todd. They're confused, like the rest of the fucking Bravo fans, if Alexia and Todd are together or not. Lisa tells Guerdy that she's been traveling all summer and was just asked to walk in Philip Plein's show for Milan Fashion Week. And Lisa tells them that her dad has had a heart attack. And we see the flashback to her telling Jody that she's on standby. I'm on standby when it comes to my dad, but I have to live my life. And then she tells them that she's off to Milan and she's going to see Larsa at Fashion Week. And she's so mad at her. And then we see the flashback of them at Jody's birthday party with the AC, the great AC. Guerdy says hopefully Larsa won't make it about her in Italy. And I have to remember that if I was Guerdy, I probably would be being snide about Larsa for the rest of my existence as well, given how Larsa was criminally out of fucking line when it came to Guerdy last season, what Guerdy had
gossiping about her breast cancer diagnosis that Guerdy explicitly asked her to keep to herself. Yeah, that's unforgivable. And Lisa goes, yeah, because Guerdy's like, hopefully she won't make it about her. And Lisa goes, she would never. And Guerdy goes, would she though? It's like, yeah. And then we head over to Larsa and Preston, star of the episode. They're packing up and getting ready to leave for Milan. Larsa, in a confessional, claims that this designer asked her to walk in his show, but she said no because she was nervous she would trip. Bullshit. But then she suggested Preston walk. And I just have to say, I bet you anything she heard that Lisa was walking in the show. She called this designer and said, can I walk? And he was like, nah, you're not right for this one. And she's like, can my son be in it? And he was probably like, how tall is he? And she's like, yeah. That's what I think. Because I do not think Larsa would have been offered a chance to be in Milan Fashion Week and be like, oh, what if I wobble and fall? No, she would have wanted to do that. Don't you think? I just think she's full of shit all over the place.
You're right. Something did seem amiss. I wonder if she was afraid of being compared to Lisa or if they were asked so close together. I don't know. Maybe, who knows?
I just found it weird that like once they're in Milan and the fashion designer is saying stuff to Larsa like, he better not fuck up. You got him into this. He didn't say things like, I wish you would have walked in it. I hope I can get you next year. Or like, you know what I mean?
He was just I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
And also, again, I'm just so highly suspicious of Larsa. I just don't trust anything she says or does.
I think that shows a tremendous amount of recovery and growth for you, Margie, because if you did, I was actually just going to say, like when Lisa says to Guerdy, she wouldn't. I'm like, magical thinking. magical thinking, like not dealing with what is, dealing with what you want, dealing with, she's my friend. She wouldn't make it about her, would she?
But weirdly, I feel like when it comes to Preston, at least, Lisa had the right take. I think Lisa might have been thinking in that moment, like, she wouldn't do that to her son, not when her son's there. And I feel like she had the same thought in the van. And she was like, Preston, I'm sorry we're doing this. Like, you don't, oh, see, I bought that.
In the van,
actually,
I did not, I have notes. No.
Okay.
No, I did not. I didn't. But I'm the asshole of the two of us. Again,
no, don't do that. Don't do that.
No,
That's
I
not
say
true.
it. I say it in a self-deprecating. Listen, it's not that I don't have a little bit of pride about being an asshole. I know that it takes, if not everybody can be an asshole.
But you have to be an informed asshole. It's like how
yes.
I will always pitch fart jokes in writers' rooms.
A righteous asshole. How about
that? But I am now very determined to pitch story-driven fart jokes. Like anytime I pitch a fart joke, it has a purpose to serve in the script. And I feel like if you consider yourself an asshole, it's a very informed asshole. You're doing it because you're saying something because it's grounded in relevant information to the person, place, or institution.
As soon as we're done with this podcast and I hit stop record, I'm going straight to Zazzle or Redbubble, and I'm going to order myself a t-shirt that says, I am an informed asshole. I love that. I'm an informed asshole. Yes. Yeah. I'm not just hating on Lisa because I want to hate on Lisa. I hate on Lisa because
with good reason.
I mean, yes. And I'm rationalizing. I get it. I'm aware of all of it. Anyway, I didn't buy that she just was like, oh, I'm worried. Like, dude, you're a housewife. Like, you live to be on the stage, whatever stage that is, your OnlyFans, your Instagram, your fucking franchise. Like, why wouldn't she walk in a fashion show?
Larsa, you mean?
Yeah, Larsa.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I feel like if she'd been offered, she would have been up there. She wanted to go to Milan and not be left out of this occasion if Lisa's going to be there. So she sent her son.
Interesting.
But then she completely diminishes Preston. She's like, Preston is the creative one. My other sons knew they wanted to be in the NBA. And Preston, he's smart academically and he's sensitive. I was like, can you not treat him like he has an illness or a disability because he didn't want to be in the NBA? Like, I just found her characterization of Preston to be like, monstrous and off the mark.
Yeah, I did not appreciate the way she was talking to him while they were trying to get out of the house. I've made it no fucking secret on this podcast that travel anxiety it's a torture. I'd rather have surgery. See, I say that and then I beat myself up. It's like, some people have to have surgery for real. I'm just saying that's how much I can't stand it. Of course, I don't want to have surgery. I don't want anyone to have surgery. I'm just saying that is how I have more calm about, well, if I know they're coming up. You know what? I don't need to go off about this. My point is, I did not appreciate, as someone with massive travel anxiety, who does everything I can to avoid it, and yet it evades me. And I'm not saying that this is Preston's issue. Like, I'm projecting like a motherfucker.
Is Larsa.
Like
this is Larsa doing performative mothering, being like, he's in college, he doesn't know who he is. He wants to be a model, but I have to manage everything. Do you have your passport? Do you have it? We're going to be late. There's only one flight. Do you have your passport, Preston? And he's literally like, can you give me a second as he unzips his bag to make sure he has it, which he did.
Yeah.
Shut up. That's not mothering. Nagging incessantly in front of cameras is not mothering, period.
It wasn't helping at all. And it made me as someone with ADHD, it really upset me. And as someone with travel anxiety, it really upset me too.
But I don't even think she was trying to help. I think she was just trying to look like, the one who knows all the things. But
she was
her
being
kid
an
was
asshole
doing
for
great.
sport. And I don't. Yeah,
She's
I had
the opposite of informed asshole. She was an asshole for sport.
She is an asshole.
Period.
She really buys her own she's really up her own asshole. In her confessional, Larsa says, if he wants to model, I'm going to do what I can to make sure it happens. And the producer asks Larsa if she knows that Lisa is in the show. And she says, yes, I do. then in the next scene, we see Larsa asking Preston if he thinks that Lisa is going to be on their flight too. And he says, no, thank you to this conversation. This is a work trip for me. And I was like, set your boundaries. Your mom needs to phone a friend.
This was beautiful. She goes, do you think Lisa's going to be on the flight? And he said, can I be honest with you? I don't really care to talk about her. This is a work trip for me, and that's that. And I was like, this child is having none of it. Mm-hmm. And Larsa, you can see how reluctant she is to back off. I got kind of like a sinking, sick feeling in that moment. And I was like, she's not going to respect this. And lo and behold, she does not for 1 minute. So there we go.
Yeah, don't expect different results.
Yeah,
Past
right?
behavior predicts future behavior. Yes.
Then we have Lisa packing, and I am Lisa. She's running late and she's way overpacked and asking questions like, I need a hoodie, right? And in this moment, I appreciated Jody for saying, not enough to miss a flight. When I'm in that state of mind and I'm about to be late for, you have to allow like 15 hours to get to LAX, like I can really fuck myself by being like, do I shove one more hoodie in here? I have a sweatshirt, but not one with a hood that zips. What if I need that? Like I can really be a real head case, so...
Which comes from anxiety and needing to manage and control everything because, again, here I am conjuring up, not even from the depths of my soul, not even from the limits of what, the limits of my ability to have compassion. She is an adult child of an alcoholic. She's talked about it in 2 out of 2 episodes of this season. I give her that. As another adult child of an alcoholic who also has ADHD, I pack for the illusion of control. I need shit to make me feel safe and prepared for any situation, no matter what that situation's going to be. Fuck it. If that means I'm an overpacker, I'm an overpacker. I just don't want to do it as close to like leaving. It's like if I want to overpack the night before I need to leave for the airport, great. I don't want to be doing it an hour before I have to leave for the airport. So, fuck it. Overpack. Shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if you heard Evelyn bark in agreement with that one. So I had this moment of like empathy for Lisa being like, yeah, I understand that kind of packing. And then we get a quick confessional with her where she applauds herself for walking in a runway show with 18-year-olds and going like, I still got it. And I was like, shut up. Like, you're fine, but like, let's not get crazy.
I felt the same way. I just, and again, as someone who is, again, firmly middle-aged, where like I can confidently say that my youth is in my rearview mirror, like the second half, however much time I'm graced with having until I leave this mortal coil is in front of me. But it's not, there are no more youth milestones. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I turned 50. Not that 50 isn't young. It's you know what I'm saying? I don't need to should myself to make this point. I understand the fear of losing your youth and what youth means, especially in our society. I get it. I really do. I hate even relating to Lisa, even just like a little teeny tiny bit. It is humbling and shameful. I wanted so much to just be so annoyed. And I was 95% annoyed and also not, because I also like 18-year-olds get to turn 25 and they get to turn 30 and they get to turn 40. And, at the same time, I'm going to be turning X, Y, and Z. And that is still something I'm working on in therapy. Okay, I'm working on aging in therapy. I'm doing it. And it's uncomfortable. My point is, Lisa, it also could be that you were asked to be in this show because you're campy as fuck. And your whole franchise is campy as fuck. And you are a spectacle. You are a spectacle from head to toe. Philip Plein wants spectacle. And you happen to be what people, not necessarily my people, but people's idea of attractive. She is some people's idea of attractive.
Well, and they're friends. They're friends.
And they're friends, yes.
It's not like she went on a go-see with all the 18-year-olds and they were like, ooh, you know what? Get the 5'1" lady. Get the 5'1" lady pushing 50. Grab her. No, your friend knows you, and like you said, knows you'll perform on a runway, and her placement in the lineup was probably intended to energize the crowd after already seeing 49 looks or whatever. So,
right.
Great. Elisa Hochstein serves a purpose, good for her. But
yes. And not that there shouldn't be middle-aged fucking models out there. And I know that that's, it happens every once in a while, and it's a big old splash when it does. It shouldn't be, but it is. And that's just
it's also okay that some things are for young people. You know what I mean? Like, I am a huge Kristen Siriano fan who dresses women of all ages, shapes, sizes, everything. But I do also, like, I'm not going to wear a lot of the fashions that are walking runways because I'm old now. I love that young people wear, have you seen these like giant red rubber shoes that look like they're from a cartoon? And they're impossible to get on and off, but young people wear them all around out here. I've seen them on runways and I'm like, hell yeah, fucking good for you. I have old lady bones and I don't want to like take a weird step off a curb and not be okay because I chose to wear giant cartoon rubber boots,
Ma'am,
some shit is just not for me. And I think
you are taking a walk off a step in an Isabel Marant sneaker, so it's not like you're out there in a Rockport. Not that there's anything wrong with a Rockport, but
I'm
like
saying the art and the art in couture fashion.
Yes,
there's a certain attitude that comes with youth that in a beautiful way fades with age. You know more. So you're not as cocky and whatever because you've seen a lot. And there's something I love about like the energy, and weirdly there's this one like high fashion model who's like a young kid and he's really funny and he's also like, really good at modeling. And I find it fascinating to watch that like career unfold. Anyways, some of the art that these designers create is often served really well on the attitude and energy that like young joints and ego
I can see
carry
what you're saying.
with.
I can see what you're saying.
I don't know.
Before we move on from this scene, I wanted to talk to you about this. I don't know why, but it really bothered me, like at the beginning of the scene when she's like freaking out and she calls Jody. Why am I the boss or the authority on who someone should call? Maybe it's that I have a support system of reliable, loving friends that would love to talk me off the ledge about packing. Even if they don't talk me off the ledge, they can be like, oh, God, I'm sorry, that sucks. But I wouldn't call Josh. And maybe it's just that I have that. And I don't know if Lisa has. She doesn't strike me as someone, based on the actions that I see on this show, she doesn't strike me as someone that has that kind of support they can like really crash into when one is short-circuiting. And I'm not saying she was short-circuiting, but do you know what I'm saying? It really bothered me that I was just like so fucking annoyed,
I mean, I feel like the only thing that made sense about it to me is that the element of her father is actively declining and dying. So I feel like if I'm having trouble packing, I'm going to meet someone at the airport who has traveled with me before, and I can't fucking think straight because I'm leaving the country and my dad is dying, who I just reconciled with. Do I need a hoodie? Like, maybe that's the person in that moment that I would call, just to be like, you know me, you've traveled with me. Like, I can't get enough oxygen to my brain to think right now. What do I do? And he was just like, don't put the hoodie in the bag, zip it up and get here. And she's like, cool. It might have been related to that bigger picture stuff, but otherwise I hear you.
I'm so glad. Yeah. I'm so glad I asked you because I can totally see that. And she is. The minute she says, my dad is dying, she immediately follows it up with, we just reconciled because my childhood was fucking shitty because he was a goddamn drunk who was unreliable and mean.
And she walked out of the house at age 16 because it was that bad. Like, you don't do that if there's any option to stay.
You're absolutely right. And again, I remain to have the right to judge the fuck out of Lisa Hochstein because she's not my people. She's not my people by a long shot. But yes, Margie, you're right. Objectively, I understand what you're saying. Okay, I'm glad I brought it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to talk about Alexia and Julia at Pilates?
Not really, because all they do is recap what happened in the last episode. But they do, Alexia and Julia take Pilates, and it's hilarious. Just kidding. Alexia, after class, says she needs it for her mental health, and Julia rehashes her tension with Guerdy. And it was interesting to hear that it's not just about missing the Zoom call for the adoption announcement that Julia was going to make, that her irritation with Guerdy goes back to Guerdy having offered to join Julia on a cruise after Martina fell ill and was unable to go. Guerdy said, I'll go with you. I'm your friend. And I'll help stabilize you while you worry about Martina and have to show up at whatever this cruise is. And then Julia reads us some text messages about Guerdy not getting a dinner reservation that she wanted. And it pissed her off enough that she blamed Julia for not looking after her better on this cruise. And then Julia claims that Guerdy made this whole cruise about her and her PR needs and her social needs. And this all boils down to Guerdy is not my safe space anymore. And for me, it all boiled down to kind of exactly where we left off last week with the two of them, which is team nobody. Julia, be on time for the Zoom call. Guerdy, be apologetic for not being able to get on. Julia, tell your friend that you adopted 2 boys so she doesn't read it on TMZ. Guerdy, say something better than congrats on new life being brought into someone's household. The cruise seemed even more fucking frivolous and ridiculous. If everyone's okay, then I don't know why we're upset. These two aren't meant to be friends anymore. They're not matching up. Your face tells me you have a different take on this.
Oh, I have a much different take on this.
All right, let it rip.
I believe that Julia is rewriting history when she's telling Alexia this story.
I believe too. I don't think anyone's...
Okay, so I have some receipts that I would like to share with the court. If I may, again, we're not a courtroom. It's just that you have the family full of lawyers. I am so enraged with Julia. The fact that she's married to someone as shitty as Martina, why did I give her the benefit of the doubt or think she was good at all? She's got a sob story for sure. Hellacious trauma, unimaginable trauma. I understand, but also gross. You're married to a fucking bigot, dude. Anyway, so Julia again tells Alexia the story about the fucking Zoom. And I want to give you a little bit of a background of what did happen. Okay? And this is courtesy of the Bravo Real Housewives subreddit, sleuths, and also screenshots, receipts, timelines, fucking everything. Courtesy of what? Instagram. So, after the season premiere last week, Guerdy posts some receipts. Guerdy texted Julia and said she tried the Zoom link 3 times and it didn't work for her, asked if she could be sent a new link. We all know that Julia didn't send it and then sent Guerdy that fakakta text that was really just passive-aggressive written, but, you know, like you had to like, is it passive-aggressive? Is it not? What the fuck is up with her? Like,
it absolutely is.
Right, exactly. Okay, so.
You can read it with everyone else is pretty fucking rude.
So Julia says you can read it with everyone else, and 3 hours later, she gets a text that says congrats.
Which is
Guerdy.
Bullshit. That's shitty.
So, again.
The news is she adopted 2 boys, which has been her dream. Like, if I'm Guerdy, I receive that and say like, hey, I'm incredibly bummed out that I was not on that call. I don't love that one of my friends made me read this in the press, but I'm not going to overlook the fact that like a great miracle has befallen you and you must be so happy and I am happy for you. You don't just say congrats. That's fucking rude. I mean, it's just pointed. It's like, I guess it's tit for tat. And I guess I don't know where it stops. Like, they shouldn't be friends if that's how they're going to behave with each other.
Oh, I don't think they should be friends because I think that Guerdy deserves better. So last week, a few days after the premiere aired, Dr. Nicole posted in regards to Julia's beef with Guerdy, this is the kind of petty nonsense that makes being in this friend group so stressful. Everything gets exaggerated and taken out of context for the sake of making a scene. Sorry, @Guerdy has to go through this nonsense. Guerdy replied to Dr. Nicole, I love you. You know the entire truth and nothing but the truth. I'll just be chilling here with my long-ass receipts as the slander attempts begin. And then she does. So a few days after that, Guerdy posted said receipts on her Insta. She has a screenshot of her thread with Julia. This is from the end of June through the now infamous congrats text. So Guerdy sent Julia a voice memo in June singing Julia happy birthday in fucking French. Julia replies a few hours later saying, thank you, wish we could get together. I'm going out of town next week until the first week of August. So the next text is August 13th when Guerdy texts Julia and says, I tried logging on 3 times. It never worked. Can you please resend the link? Like she tried 3 times, you know? And Julia replied, find out later in the press, bye. So after Guerdy posts her receipts, Julia posts her version of like a Notes app apology, doing like so much damage control. And I'll try to paraphrase it because it's long, but basically she's like, my beautiful souls. And you can tell by the fact that she's opening up this apology as my beautiful souls, that she's referring to the people that are slamming her on her Instagram in her DMs or the comments. This season, you've seen a different side of me. Now, mind you, this has been, when she posts this, there's been 1 fucking episode of the season that's aired. That's it. So she's either like bracing everybody for like what's to come, her shitty behavior that's to be like shown, or it's just hilarious that she's referring to that episode as the season. But this season, you see a different side of me, a side I've struggled to explain. The truth is, right before filming, something life-changing happened. I was given the chance to welcome 2 boys into my life. It was sudden, emotional, and felt deeply destined. The part no one saw was the adoptions weren't finalized. I was living between loving these boys fiercely while navigating legal uncertainty, and I was keeping it quiet. It was fragile, sacred, stressful, which is why I was so cautious about sharing anything with them in writing. Okay, as if they can't...
For this very reason, Guerdy posted receipts.
Right. But
yeah,
as if people can't do a recording on Zoom or like get off the Zoom and immediately like put TMZ on speed dial, like Guerdy wouldn't do that. She's posting these receipts because she needs to. I don't know if I would have made the same choice as Guerdy. Like, I will probably never be in the position where I'll need to even consider doing something like this. But if I were her and I was up against this, I can see it. And we know Guerdy's personality. She doesn't take shit.
No, but I feel like, again, looking at it holistically, I don't like Julia. I'm team nobody. I'm just saying if I'm Guerdy and I'm really her friend, I'm aware when she says I've adopted boys that there is so much loaded history with that. She's probably terrified, thrilled, all of the things. The last one she had died as an infant, not at her hand. I can't fucking imagine. I would never leave the house if I got a chance, if that happened the first time and I got a chance to have another one. Like, I do think if Guerdy is her real deep friend, you say more than congrats because it's coming with a lot, these kids into her life.
It is. And Julia has also, like she even said during this conversation with Alexia, like, well, we're not as close. Like, well, okay, well, why is that though? Because in the texts that Guerdy was showing that she posted, she was being a good friend. And if Julia didn't think she was, then Julia was giving her some fake-ass replies because they were like kisses and hearts and like my loves and all this stuff. If she's that pissed off at Guerdy for trying to log on to a Zoom and it's not working for her 3 times and she asks for the link, that's Julia, like she's building a case.
Look, I'm team nobody, and it starts with Julia being late for the Zoom call. If you need people to be on your call and it's this important, you get there first, you know? Yeah. Guerdy has a business that she's running and a recovery from a serious cancer that she's treating. Like, you don't fuck with people's time.
Well,
I don't think Julia's in the right. I'm just saying that congrats is so loaded. It's basically a middle finger to me. If I'm Julia and just got another chance to raise sons, I'm taking that real hard from my good friend who knows where I'm coming from. That's tough.
Get it. So when moments came up, like sending that strange message of like, my hands are literally full, I can't talk about it, you'll find out in the press. Okay, I think that's the shitty thing. That's why Guerdy says congrats.
I know
because
why.
Julia's being passive-aggressive as hell. And like,
just,
you'll find out. But then she says, okay,
rude.
So she says, the strange message you saw, that was an example of me not showing up as my most present or thoughtful self. And at the time, Guerdy and I weren't in the close place we'd once been. Our friendship shifted, not from anything bad, just life. Like Guerdy getting cancer, Julia? And the subsequent treatment that destroyed her body, mind, soul, and family. And I don't mean destroyed, I mean terrified them. We see Russell in the scene after this. Like, we see him like in visible pain and fear. This is tangible. This is real. It's not an abstract. He was on the brink of losing the love of his life. Remember, they met in fucking high school. My point is that's not just life. This is like, fuck you, Julia. You be a good friend.
Well, also when Guerdy, remember, now, again, I'm not fighting for Julia, but remember her partner who we don't agree with, but the person she chose to spend her life with also has 2 forms of cancer and is old. You know, at that time, Julia was also managing that. Again, I'm team nobody, firmly team nobody. It's just that if this is not a friendship, if neither one of them can have any compassion for where the other is coming from and say, it hurts my fucking feelings for you to say, read it in the press, but I get what happened is a huge deal and I love you and I'm excited for you. Or it really pissed me off that you couldn't be bothered to get on this Zoom call and stay there. It was a huge deal to me and I need some time to like not be mad about it, but I love you and I'm glad you're well or whatever the fuck. It's just like everybody's wrong. Everybody wins, I guess. If you don't want to have like friends or support, that this is how you do it. You just post receipts and go, she's worse. But like everyone was in a bad, weird spot at that time. I don't have the answer. It's just sad.
Yeah. And my answers aren't evolved spiritually. But I digress.
Likewise.
Basically, she wraps it up saying that she was wrapped up in her own emotional chaos and she fumbled and she never meant to come across as cold, careless, or bizarre. She was in a storm of her own. And here's where she comes in with the like learning and listening bullshit. This has been a season of growth, messiness, and transformation. Thank you for giving me the space to walk through it imperfectly. Listen, if I'm Guerdy and I have not been told by my friend Julia that things have shifted between us, even before that Zoom call, and I'm told like, oh, you'll find out later with the rest of the fucking plebes, with the rest of the public, I'm going to be fucking bummed. And I might just text back congrats without an exclamation point too, because that's pretty fucked up. And then I think about what you just said about Julia's history. You're right, team fucking nobody. But like,
it's team nobody because also Guerdy, like I love Guerdy. She's, I adore her. And I was so disappointed in what I learned about her in this episode. That the text exchange from the cruise ship where she's like, I don't know why I couldn't be seated with you. I don't know why we were separated. I'm only here because I'm trying to do right by you. And that's okay. I had dinner by myself. See you around. Like, what the fuck is that? What do you
I
say
begrudgingly acknowledge what you're saying is also correct.
It's just, but this is what I mean by team nobody. In this conversation, this argument, there's either nothing at play here and everyone's dug in and just needing to be right and be a winner, or there's something way deeper at play here where both of them are feeling abandoned in their deepest, darkest hours, and I can't tell which it is. So I'm just like, I don't fucking know, you guys. You're just,
I don't know,
shipping back and forth. And I don't like either of you very much when you're doing it.
I don't know. I think I can just like imagine the conversations that Martina and Julia are having about Guerdy behind Guerdy's back. And I don't think I like it. I don't trust Martina at all. And I guess I just carry that over into Julia now by proxy.
Didn't Guerdy and Martina have a lunch when Martina's cancer diagnosis came about? Didn't Guerdy sit down and have lunch with her to say like, I'm here to support you through this. This is terrible.
Maybe. I don't remember.
I guess that's why I'm so confused and annoyed by this. I'm like, either
you're right.
Something really important is going on and you guys need to get to it, or just like let all of this go. Who gives a shit? Just get to the bigger issue, which is thank God you're alive and recovering, Guerdy. And oh my God, Julia, what an incredible, frightening, glorious gift you've been given. I hope you have the best time raising those boys. Like, I don't know. It just, I don't know. There's so much bigger shit at play. But I think that's what bothered me about this episode in general, where I was just like, we're getting to Larsa's big hero speech, where I was like, you don't have enough to do. If you're like, I drove a textbook to high school. It's like, you don't have enough information about what's going on in the world if that story is harrowing. Ugh. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Late.
I get it. I mean, like I'm 95% Team Guerdy.
Yeah. I was just looking at the clock and I'm like, I'm reminded of my first therapist in Los Angeles who always said to me, never talk about anything serious after 9 p.m. Because this is what happens. I get energized and crazy about shit that with like a clear mind at the beginning of the day, I'll be able to state in one sentence what matters and either let it go or dig in if it's really important. But at 9 p.m., everything's incredibly important and I need to solve the problem tonight. Like I get so... Anyways, thank you, Dr. Fox, for that insight. And I'm sorry for violating it this evening. Oopsies.
Dr. Fox, I am not a former patient of yours, so I reserve the right to hate someone at 9 a.m. or after 9 p.m.
No, but that instruction was personal to me because she got to know me so well and she picked up on the pattern in my relationship. Like she would, eventually inquire, like, when did you initiate this conversation? I'd be like, when I got home at 10 p.m. And she's like, well, that's not working, is it? So why don't we just put the boundary of 9 p.m. up? And if you have something important to say, wait till the next morning. Have a shower and a coffee and try it with a clear head. Because I just spiral at this hour. Anyways.
Real Housewives of Miami. All roads lead to Bravo.
Right.
My point is that, yeah, that text over the cruise dinner is what made Guerdy not be Julia's safe space anymore. My God. But like...
It's all crazy.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
If the cruise is the demise of your friendship, then like, I don't know.
I mean, when
Anyways.
Alexia is even looking at you like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, there you go. What more proof do we need that Julia is talking out of her ass is when Alexia is like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And it's like you said, Julia's doing it for the camera. She pulls out this cruise ship exchange. I'm like, oh, come on.
Right? It's flimsy.
We don't need
it's flimsy
this.
at best.
Agreed. That's the word. Flimsy for sure.
So then Julia asks Alexia what's going on with her and that she saw on the blogs that a judge told Todd that he had 30 days to move the divorce along or it's going to be thrown out. And Alexia tells her that she's in an emotional limbo and doesn't want Todd to proceed with the filing. A year ago, she would have said, fine, let's be done. But the ball's in his court. She's put 5 months into saving her marriage and she's anxious. And I guess I got to hand it to Alexia for being that aware to say that she's in emotional turmoil. Some people don't even know they're in emotional turmoil. She's very aware. So
she is. But again, from what I've learned in therapy, a lot of this is of her own making because as she told us last week, it's been 5 months and guess what they haven't discussed? The fact that he filed for divorce, moved out in secret after planning for a month, securing a separate apartment. Like they haven't talked about it. So like, of course you're anxious, but you haven't tried to address it. So she's just like, but I also understand the magical thinking of like, if it doesn't happen, then maybe it never happened. It's like, okay.
God, it could not be me.
Lord.
I am so like, knock, knock, knock. Hey, what's happening? Hey, what's happening?
Yeah.
Hey, what's happening? Are we going to talk? Are you going to tell me what's up? Yes.
I wouldn't have made it 5 months. Every day of those 5 months for me, I would have been like Alexia at the dinner that she hosts later, having every single emotion within a sentence every time I talked. But
yeah.
It took her
I wouldn't
5
have
months
lasted
to
5 minutes, let alone 5 days, 5 weeks. You get it. Anyway, we have Milan arrivals with Lisa and Jody and Larsa and Preston. Lisa's cold, and according to Jody, if she's going to be an Italian model, she needs to get used to the cold. And she corrects him, it's an international model. I'm from Canada. So she tells him that maybe she'll be walking in the Chanel fashion show next year. And I wrote in my notes, no comment, no comment. Not even after 9, Dr. Fox. Not even an after 9 comment. Anyway.
And then they all wind up in the same car going to the hotel, and Larsa confronts Lisa. It's a weird configuration. So Preston gets in the front seat of the Sprinter van, and then Lisa and Jody are seated facing Larsa. And I was like, oh my God, what choice do they have?
What in the European Sprinter vans configuration is this?
And like riding backwards, I would be so sick. After like a 14-hour flight, I would not be well.
No way.
I guess it's only like 6 hours for them. But anyways, who cares? Larsa says that she promised Preston she wouldn't get into it with Lisa because this is his trip and his event. And then Lisa, I thought this was nice. I thought it was legitimate. She asked Preston if he's walked before, and he says no, it's his first time. And I feel like that's why she was sweet to him backstage. You know, I thought that these were genuinely sweet moments from Lisa, but whatever. And then Larsa immediately, after saying she promised Preston she wouldn't get into it, she gets into it, picking at Lisa, saying that when Lisa asked her what she is, her answer is, I'm a mom to 4 superstar kids and an entrepreneur. And it hurt really bad that you would say that. And then Lisa says, well, it hurt me when you came to Jody's birthday and called him cheap. And Jody,
Marcus said he was cheap.
Oh my God. And Jody's like, I hugged you and I was nice to you. And I'm like, are these adults? Like, if I'm embarrassed for Preston to hear this coming from adults, like, you called me cheap and I had given you a hug at my birthday party. It's like, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a mom of 4 superstars. Like, it's just whiny brats. And Preston is the only adult in the car. And it was very weird. And then Larsa, basically it boils down to Larsa saying that Marcus is just using Jody to get to Larsa. And Lisa is hyper aware of Preston and turns to him and says, sorry about this, Preston. And then Lisa, again, I'm sympathetic and I liked Lisa in that moment, turning to acknowledge Preston and how uncomfortable this must be. And then she immediately buys it all back by pulling the dad in the ICU card, saying he might not make it through the week. And then Larsa just like absolutely drills it down and is like, well, then you shouldn't have come. And I was like, oh my God, this is so violent and terrible. Like, first of all, you know, again, as someone who has a complicated relationship with an alcoholic father, don't tell me where to be when it comes to that person. I will figure that out on my own. It's not as simple as you have a dying parent, if fucking only. So, butt the fuck out. But also, Lisa, when it's time for you to answer for your wrongs, don't go like, oh, my father's in the ICU. Your father who you haven't talked to in like 30 years. So like, let's get our bearings here a bit.
She just has to say, sorry, Preston, like loud enough for Larsa. Like she could have just leaned over and been like, oh, dude, sorry, Preston, we're getting into this. I firmly believe I would say this at 9 o'clock in the morning, saying this after 9 o'clock at night. I think that Lisa is doing anything to make Larsa feel bad. And again, I believe that this is Lisa's mom apology tour because she got reamed last year for like looking like a shitty mother. And so I think she's going to try to do anything. And then I hear myself say it out loud and I realize she and Larsa used to be really close. They used to be really close.
15 years.
God damn it.
And also, in fairness to Lisa, Larsa started this whole conversation in the car by saying, I promised Preston I would not get into it. And then she gets into it. It's like, dude, come on.
I do think that
Lisa couldn't drop the rope either, you know.
She was, I think she was getting a little dig in, like, okay, I'm going to make it look like she's manipulative as hell too. I'm sorry.
Probably, but I don't know. I just really like Preston and I feel like he did such a good job managing himself in the course of shooting this whole episode. I'm really impressed with his, I don't know.
Poor thing did the best he could to take care of himself by like bolting to the front fucking seat.
He did, still but protect him. But how great! Like, I don't know.
I agree.
I don't think I would have had the wherewithal to do that. I would have been so enmeshed with my needy parent. I would have sat right next to them and been like, "Yeah, mom," you know. Anyways, and then we go to a scene that again just makes me absolutely adore Guerdy for letting the cameras come to this visit, showing everything. We're at her surgeon's office where she's doing a breast reconstruction evaluation consultation, and she exposes her full boobs for the camera, which looked great to me. But she let the doctor take us through, like, this is pulling here from the radiation treatment, and here's scar tissue from the surgery causing some deformity on this boob. And she's happy with one boob because it like jiggles and all this stuff. And then the doctor suggests one more surgery to improve the appearance of one of her breasts that's still a little misshapen from the prior surgery. And poor Russell, we literally watch a man experience PTSD in the moment. Like, I recognized sort of like the weird flushing and all the color draining from your face at the same time. like the light, clammy sweat and the sort of inability to sit still. Because he said, like, I see the pain and I don't want her going through surgeries unnecessarily. And it was so genuine and sweet. And Guerdy, also very genuine and sweet, says, I don't know when I'm going to be happy with my body. And if it takes another surgery or two to feel normal, then we need to explore that. And she says, I'm rolling with the punches, my boobs, my hair, my weight. And then she hugs him and comforts him. And, you know, it's like there's no good options. Either she leaves this as is and Russell has some peace of mind, but she's not at peace in her body, or she has a surgery and Russell has another round of like really stressful caretaking and fear ahead of him. But Guerdy emerges with a body she feels more familiar with or comfortable in. I loved her for this scene. I loved both of them.
100%. I mean, when she shares what she's endured, 6 surgeries later, 20 radiation treatments later, 5 chemo treatments later, hormones aren't the same, bone density not the same, skin isn't the same. Oh my God. Shit. I can't even imagine, and God bless her. So she says she can accept her hair and she can accept her weight. And with everything else, she's almost there. And that's why she wants to have the surgery. And it sounds like, according to the surgeon, that this is fairly typical, that reconstruction can take, more than one attempt. And I don't know, it makes sense to me. And I can't imagine it's easy for Guerdy either. It doesn't seem like these are, yeah. I can't even pretend to speculate on what it's like for her or Russell. Oh my God, or their precious kids. No. And I also want to just like pray to, if there are any Bravo gods, can we just have Russell? I just don't want anything problematic to come out about Russell ever. I don't think it will. I'm also not, I'm too old to be naive, and it's too far after 9 o'clock for me to be naive. Just kidding. I love that. I just doing a circle back with the 9 p.m. thing. Just doing a circle back.
Yeah, it doesn't apply to everyone.
I'm just joking. I hope I'm not coming across as making fun.
No, not at all.
Okay, good.
I'm just saying it's not, I didn't mean to like, since I said my therapist's name, I just want to make sure that she didn't say that's a universal rule for all adults. That is a Marginiki specific rule after noticing a unhelpful pattern in some of my relationships.
Do you want to talk about Marisol and her husband, Steve, having sushi dinner and sake?
Sure. Honestly, the scene didn't really like have much going on for it, but I sure was distracted by drinking sake out of like a small wooden box. It was darling, but I was like, I am a huge klutz. So it gave me such anxiety of like, I would spill that all over me because it's not round. So I'm going to tip it back and it's going to pour out somewhere and it's going to be a mess. And somehow they handled it beautifully. Good for them. But the sake in the little wood boxes freaked me out. But Marisol tells us they're going to get married in the States to make it, to make their marriage USA official. And then they gossip about Alexia and Todd, and Marisol notices that Todd brings out the worst in her friend, Alexia. And that leaves Marisol like catching strays. When someone's in an abusive relationship, it doesn't stay in the confines of those walls. It often affects relationships outside of it. And she says Todd picks on Alexia and makes her feel less than. And Marisol really does not want Alexia to go back to Todd because she worries she'll lose her friend altogether.
I think Todd is a colossal piece of shit. I want to go on the record and say that. I think also, I wonder if, okay, and again, purely speculating, not assuming one little bit, not at all. We saw that scene with Todd taking Peter and Alexia to task about Frankie, taking Peter to task about just how shitty of a person Peter is, period. Alexia has enabled that. She has enabled Peter to become the monster that he is. And Todd is the only person we've ever seen on camera call Alexia out for that. So is that treating her friend like shit? I'm just saying, I wonder if it's a tiny piece of what Marisol thinks is Todd treating her like shit. I wonder if a little bit of that might be that Alexia wasn't stoked on the fact that he was calling her out on enabling her problematic son. But then as the episode progresses, it's just that he's a piece of shit. But it was just a thought that I had. Maybe it's irrelevant. Who knows?
I don't know. Again, I think the way he delivered that information to her, it's less about delivering the information and more about making her feel like shit about herself.
Oh, God, that's a really good point. He did not say it in a productive way. He said it in a shaming, attacky, judgy,
and I think that's what
way.
Marisol is reading. Is like, even if he's right, the way he delivered it to his partner was ineffective and unhelpful.
You're right.
And it just made her worse.
You're absolutely right, Margie. That's such a good point. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
I don't know.
Oh, my God. You're right.
Who knows?
You're right. You're right.
What I do know is that, again, Larsa is a turd and just stomping all over her son's boundaries. So we're back in the Milan hotel room, and Larsa again tries to engage Preston about Lisa and says, what did you think of that conversation? I mean, if your dad's going to die in a week, why are you here? And Preston, God bless, he says, that's like their business. Don't be confrontational. If she's here, she's here. And I was like, this kid could not be more clear and succinct in delivering the news to his mother. And she is relentlessly annoying, as is Jack, this designer's ambassador who arrives.
Oh my God, the global ambassador for Philip Plein, Jack.
I was so confused. God. Yeah, Jack became like a day player in this episode.
Honestly,
I don't know what his point was, but he sure was there. And then we go to Lisa and Glam, and Jody enters, and I replayed this 100 times. I don't know why it got in my brain so bad. Jody enters, and I swear I heard him say some version of what Lisa heard. I swear to God, he said, it's time to get out or something like that. And Lisa goes, what? And he goes, I said, how are you doing? And I'm like, no, you didn't. And I rewound it like 10 times. And I was like, is this one of those, like, do you remember that like Laurel Yanny thing? That like audio trick that if you listen for the word Laurel, you'll hear Laurel. If you listen for the word Yanny, you'll hear Yanny in the same recording. So I was like trying to do that. I was like, what the fuck is happening? He definitely said the word get. He did not say, how are you doing? It was really weird. And Jody, I just find Jody so unnerving. Everything about him makes me feel crazy. And that final picture really brought it home. So good Lord.
Agreed. Lisa tells Jody that she needs to call her brother, that she's been getting updates about her dad. And in her confessional, she says her dad's sick. And the saddest thing is I recently reconnected with him and he's dying, but I need to stay positive. And I'm like, oh, sweet summer child. Like, okay. I mean, like, sure, but also like get real about it. Like, and I don't mean get real. I mean, like you need to come out of your denial about how complicated this is. And this is not just like this is going to have a neat little bow. That just ain't how it works. Whether or not he's dying or not, like if you just reconnected with your alcoholic father, then yeah, it's going to be complicated. She can't believe that Larsa said that about her dad and she's being a terrible friend. And Jody says, listen, you shouldn't be reacting to her either. And they agree they both have bigger fish to fry. So whole big ass, almost a nothing burger of a scene, but whatever.
Then we get to a big meaty burger of a design studio and we go to Philip Prim. What's his name? Plein. See?
Plein.
I just wrote Philip. And this is where we get Larsa's ridiculous confessional. Preston is at the studio for his fitting for the fashion show. And Larsa in a confessional says she would do anything to make sure her kids get what they want. And then she tells the story about her speeding in a luxury vehicle designed to operate at top speeds to bring a textbook to school for Preston. And she lowballed a janitor and paid him $50 to let her in. And she makes it sound like this was the most incredible act of whatever. I'm like, so you drove in like a really comfortable car and you brought a textbook to a very familiar place and you paid barely anything to a person who could have used a lot more and you have a lot more. And we're supposed to applaud you. We're supposed to find something noble in that. Congratulations. And this is where I was like, your life is too easy. You need to touch grass.
And then she says that I'm investing in my kids. So after the fruits of my labor pay off, they'll come back and take care of me. I was disgusted. It is not meant to be a transactional relationship. It is selfless, hard. Obviously, it's thankless at times, but damn, dude, isn't seeing how self-assured and seemingly at peace he is with himself, if that isn't enough, you need to fucking look at yourself in the mirror, dude. Ew.
And Preston really held it together in front of this. I wrote, Philip is a rude cunt. He was like yelling at Preston about like, don't wear a t-shirt under the shirt. This is not America. This is Milan, blah, blah, blah. And then Preston comes out dressed and he looks great. And this guy immediately goes in on the shoes. Those shoes look like they're tied by a toddler. What the fuck are you doing? You don't know anything. Larsa, you made this happen. He better not fuck it up. I was like, this is awful. Retie the shoe. Show him how you want him tied. He looks great. Or if he doesn't, fire him. Like, why just abuse someone? As my friend Drew Droege says, bitchy is not a personality. And this guy was just going all bitchy, and it was unnecessary, and it is not a personality. It's lame, I thought.
Yeah, it's lame and inappropriate and excused many times in like high glamour jobs like this.
This is a kid. He's a college-age kid. Just show him how to tie the shoe how you want it tied. He's from America.
I don't see Preston getting rattled by Philip Plein in the marble cavern showroom.
God bless. You're right.
With chrome and just lots of silver.
Wild way to spend your energy, Philip.
Back in Miami, we are at dinner with Alexia, Marisol, Kiki, Julia, and Alexia's bestie, Johnny, and two of Johnny's friends. And Alexia misses him because he moved to Madrid. He's the same age as Peter, actually. And I was like, doesn't act like it. Anyway, so she threw him a surprise dinner and makes a point of saying Guerdy and Adriana didn't make the list.
Because she was like, I don't want those two to come because they'll make it all about themselves. This is a dinner for Johnny. And then we immediately have Alexia's dinner for Johnny being on camera for her show, where she performs like an explosive, emotional, impromptu one-act play.
Bruh.
But God bless. But not before everyone talks about uncircumcised dicks for a while.
Yep.
Which leads to more discussion of Johnny's dick, which they all last saw flopping around without underwear on under silk pants. And we get a flashback to that. I'm like, what is this show? What is happening? Okay. Flashback to Johnny's dick in silk pants, I guess. Fine. And then Alexia makes it all about her. Johnny very nicely booked Alexia a flight to Madrid when all the stuff with Todd moving out happened. And Todd now has this 30-day notice to take action on his divorce filing or throw it out. And Alexia says the ball is in his court. And I think it was Johnny or someone else at the table was like, or in yours. And someone else was like, you need to decide what you want. Do you want to like wait around for him and keep feeling like this? And Kiki in her confessional says, girl, you got to get your power back. And speaking of power, I think the most telling statement in the scene was Alexia tells us that Todd didn't like how he was portrayed on the show because he couldn't control it. And although Alexia offered to step down from the show for him, he said it was too late, and that Todd doesn't like the power the show gives me. And I feel like that tells us everything we need to know about Todd.
Everything we need to know about Todd. Disgusting.
And Marisol has like a pretty viable conspiracy theory here, saying that Todd, this is all just a grandiose setup from Todd. He's soothing and calming Alexia because the TV show is shooting and he wants to come off well and control his narrative. And that seems reasonable based on who Todd is.
Yep. And then at some point, Julia says quietly, sounds like a narcissist. He's a narcissist. And Alexia says, one day he's high, one day he's low, one day he's hot, one day he's cold. I don't know him. He's a total stranger. It's like I've been sleeping with the enemy for 8 years. I was shocked that it's been that long. I was shocked. Yeah, she tells the group that he doesn't give her the emotional safety she needs. And I said, give it to yourself. Maybe not all of it all the time, but give yourself the foundation of emotional safety. Be able to rely on yourself. Not to survive, not just triage yourself, but like soothe yourself, not just endure, but like be on your own side. Does that make sense?
It does. I'm giggling because you're talking about emotional safety. And in the next like 25 seconds, Alexia goes from screaming on a soapbox about your fake rented apartment. I drive your fake rented car. I'm weak when it comes to this man. I allowed this to happen. They should all die. They're terrible. They're monsters. You've been remembering how Frankie moved out in front of, like, she's all over the place in the course of like a matter of seconds. She's like yelling and crying and yelling and crying and ending it by going like, you know, fuck him. I need your help. Like, it was just so intense. The emotional instability she was demonstrating does not indicate this is someone who could receive the very wise feedback you're providing her. Because she ends by saying, I'm still attracted to this fucking asshole. I can't go back to this guy. You have to help me. But it is kind of sad. It is like that addiction thing where like she knows this is destructive and terrible for her. She articulated all the reasons why and ends by saying, you have to help me because I'm going to go back. Yikes.
Oof, God. And I think it's part of it. I think that they do that. That's by design. Like there's toxic relationships and then there's toxic relationships with personality disorders, people with personality disorders like narcissism or sociopathy or fuck it. Those are enough. We don't need to even go beyond those two. That's enough. So then we go back to the fashion show. And again, Lisa is feeding her ego, which is not it's a house made of sand, made on sand. It's a straw house. I look amazing. I'm going to show the 21-year-olds what's up. Bruh, it's not a competition. Like it's apples and oranges. It's just, no, let it go. So Jody finds Larsa and the Philip Plein global ambassador, Jack, and they all sit together. And Philip Plein introduces the show and tells the audience they have the best time of their life. Okay. Have the best time of your life at my fashion show. The show starts. Preston's the second one out, and I thought he looked hella profesh.
He did great.
Yeah. Larsa's proud. And the global ambassador makes a real pointed point, a point. He makes a point of asking Jody, oh, what number is Lisa coming out? And Jody's like 50 something. And the global ambassador said, well, Preston was number 2. So he basically opened the show. And he and Larsa put on like the biggest, snarkiest deal and compare it to Lisa's coming out later. And I just think that's just, it's gross. Like not it's only also, team nobody, like the bar is subterranean, Larsa Pippen. Like, come the fuck
also,
on.
Larsa, what number are you in this show? Oh, number nothing. Okay, so like 50 whatever, you're sitting in the house. So save it. And then Larsa and this brand ambassador take a very conspicuous selfie while Lisa walks. And it's just petty and stupid. And who needs it?
So stupid, dude. So stupid.
And then we're at the after show party and Jody congratulates Lisa and Larsa congratulates herself for getting Preston to succeed tonight, I guess. Good Lord. And Lisa and Larsa decide to set aside their beef for the night, but they do interact with Fabulous and present their cases to him. And he tells them both, basically, both of you can stop what you're doing. Stop hanging out with her ex. Stop being disrespectful to your friend. And they're both such weird narcissists that they're like, he was on my side. I won.
I've never seen anything like it. I want to back up real quick.
Oh, sorry.
No. You don't have to apologize. Larsa says on camera, I wasn't sure Preston was going to do a good job, but he killed it. Are you fucking kidding me?
Leave the first part out, you asshole. Just say he fucking killed it. No matter what you thought or think, just be a person. He's your child. Stop it. Ugh,
I was disgusted.
I can't stand her. Me
I was
too.
disgusted. That poor kid. Oh my God. And then it gets real scary. Then it gets real fucking scary. Lisa tells Larsa that Jody is going to be mad at her because he told her he feels alone and left out. And I was like, your girlfriend just did a fucking fashion show and he reminded me of Apartheid Clyde in here. I am not going to lie to you. Like this weird sociopathic venture capitalist out of reality kind of tech dude that is so high on his own supply and whatever he had in the AC room, like that is terrifying. If anyone doesn't see that this is her night, like however much I can't stand her, like if you do a fucking fashion show, like you're going to be high on endorphins and shit after. You want the champagne, you want to mingle. And like Larsa said, it's our fucking job to be here. We are working right now and this is part of it. And for him to be so gnarly, like gross, dude, gross. Ugh.
Yeah, and he just straight up disappeared. Lisa doesn't know where he went. And I think that's the spookiest part. Like, okay, if you feel left out and you're annoyed that the woman who was a bitch to you at your birthday party is your wife is or girlfriend is hanging out, I get it, fine. But just say like, I'm going to be at the bar down the street. Like, I don't want to spend time with whatever. Like, there's a way to do it without just sending vague kind of threatening text messages and then just disappearing. And then we get a little chyron on screen that says something to the effect of like the cameras went down after this moment, but the beef between Jody, Lisa, and Larsa continued. And then 1 week later, we're back in Miami and the women pass around a photo of Jody on the red carpet that night with pupils the size of potholes. Like they were so large and dark, it was insane. And they were also sort of heading different directions. The eyeballs were also sort of akimbo. It appears more AC was in the mix in Miami. So,
and like Lisa, again, I don't care for this woman, but just as like, just recognizing my own reactions to like someone being like that when I didn't have like recovery or therapy, you know, just like that terror. Oh God. Like when he said, Jody's going to be mad at me. Like it was not an adult woman saying those words. It was a child. It was coming from the terrified child part of her that she said that. And she immediately was like taken out of her party and it was all about Jody. And I was disgusted. So
and again, it was her night. Her dad is dying.
Yeah.
Jody, take a back seat, sir.
Dude,
please.
Go to fucking Mars already. Go to Mars. You and your other not all tech guys, but you know the tech guy I'm talking about. You know that brand. Go to Mars. Go occupy it. Bye. See ya. Not doing anything here. No more. Leave. I'm done.
As is the episode. That's where we left off. Big cliffhanger heading into next week.
Friend, what else did you watch this week?
I watched a lot of great stuff this week. I watched Call Her Alex, the documentary about Alex Cooper, Call Her Daddy podcast lady on Hulu. And that was fascinating. And I appreciated the part of her story that's gotten a lot of press, that it basically she's taking this moment in her career and pivoting a little bit into being an activist for other women harmed at the hands of this coach of hers at Boston University, and also acknowledging that harm was committed by the institution for not protecting her when she reported this ongoing situation. And I appreciated her candor and her interest in using her enormous platform. Oh my God. I was not aware completely of the reach of her podcast and of the fortune that that has come from it. It's fascinating. And then I watched Next Gen NYC, which I really, really love. I think it's so good. And Riley, Candy's daughter, had this incredible moment on this episode, this like really honest, outstanding moment where she was microaggressed by a couple of white entitled rich kids with no familiarity of what they were doing. And she broke down in tears and just like exposed the pain of it in the moment, explained why it was harmful and hurtful what they said. One of them understood, the other one had no fucking interest, totally dismissive and awful. And then she called her mom to talk about it. And Candy had one of like the most clear and supportive like mom monologues I've ever heard on a phone call. And it was great. It was great. That's when these shows are like really valuable, because microaggressions and all that stuff, they don't happen in a vacuum. They happen everywhere. And this was really interesting to see in real time how it affects a human being, and to see that some people will give a shit and care to understand or learn something, and other people will just try to literally run away from the problem. Anyways, it was great. How about you? What did you watch?
I watched Love Island. Yeah, it is just holy shit. Like, I could not talk about that show. Just like I couldn't talk about The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, I also could not talk about that show. I don't even know if I'm entertained, but it is, I think I'm more just like, what? But I guess it's also entertaining. I don't know, but let's see.
Is it 7 nights a week? Is it every night?
I think it's 6 nights, because Wednesday's that weird like recap night.
Oh, that's right, because the promo says every day but hump day.
Yeah. God.
Now it makes sense. Hilarious.
Yeah.
It's just so much.
It's a lot.
6 hours a week
It's a lot.
is so much.
Yeah. And I'm trying to keep up as much as I can, because I know I didn't last season when I watched it, I wasn't aware that it's on every night. And I was like, why can't I fucking catch up? And I was like, 30 nights? Jesus Christ. Like, in this economy? I allotted myself 1 episode of the last season of Big Mouth. I'm going to stretch it out, and I'll probably end up watching it 3 times, but like, fuck yes, dude. One of the just top tier.
So good.
I watched Love Hotel. My God. Like, such a, okay, fine. Like, great, but it didn't even need to be 8 episodes. Whatever. I watched The Rehearsal, the first 2 episodes of season 1, and Josh and I watched it together, and like, we could only do 2 episodes at a time.
Oh, it's
like
heavy.
It's heavy. Yeah, it's heavy. Never seen anything like it. Fascinating. Can't wait to watch more. And then the best piece of television that I watched this week was the Titan documentary on Netflix.
Oh.
Now, I don't know if anybody was as obsessed with this submersible disappearing as much as I was, because it was during like the orcas versus the billionaires, and I was firmly fucking team orca, obviously. But like, I was like, oh, so who went to their salty demise because of hubris? Okay. I can't recommend it enough. Chilling. This is now the 3rd. I will snort up anything I can about this. Podcasts, think pieces, Reddit subs. Like, the Titan documentary on Netflix blew the one on Discovery ID away, and that one was also very good. So that is what I watched. Can't recommend it enough.
I love it. Yeah, I got to watch that. That's
so good.
Because I remember discussing it. It was right when we'd first started this podcast that happened. Because we were doing an episode with that. Remember on the news, they had the counter of like hours of oxygen left?
Yes.
And we were recording at a time when, like, by the time we're done with this recording, either
God.
they're going to be okay or not so much. And like, that was, those were tense days. But then I guess we've come to learn that it was very swift and,
it was swift.
Awful.
Yeah, it was swift. And yeah, I mean, yeah.
And there was there's a young person in there. So that, again,
there was a young person in there, and that is
terrible.
Terrible.
That should, what the hell?
Yeah, I
got to watch the documentary to see how that was even fucking allowed. How do you allow someone I got to watch the documentary.
You got to watch the documentary.
All
yes,
right.
yes,
okay.
yes.
I look forward to it.
There are a couple of passengers on that vessel that
Innocence.
I absolutely have. I feel bad for them, and then the others knew what they were doing. Watch the documentaries.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes.
Will do.
And friend, what was your antidepressant?
We talked about it a little bit before we started recording. I'm finally pitching the show that my friend and I have been working on for like a year now. And it's so exciting. We did so much hard work and we're really proud of it. And we love it so much and it's being well received. And there's no guarantees for anything in this town, but it's just really nice to, working on something in a vacuum can feel a little strange, and you go through lots of crisis points where you're like, is this even funny? Is this worth anything anymore? Like, this idea is a year old. Does anyone give a shit? Like, it's just nice to take it out and be energized by pitching it and to feel engagement in the rooms with these people. It's been nice. So it's satisfying to like complete hard work and get to, again, nobody knows what will come of it, but it's sort of like preparing for a show and then doing a nice long run of the show. So we're in the middle of our run of the show and it's really fun. So I'm enjoying it.
I love it.
Yeah.
And after all the slogs of like rehearsal upon tech days, which are terrible, and then you do it and it's with an audience and you're like, oh, I remember why I love this.
Yeah.
This is great. The life is breathed back into it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good.
And after all the things that we'd like talked about and cut out of the pitch, but they're coming up in the conversations we have after delivering the formal pitch. So we're just like full of like excitement and information. And it's like, it's a joy. It's a true joy. I mean it. So that is an antidepressant right there.
Love it.
And how about you? What was your antidepressant?
So last time we recorded, my son was just really, really sick. Still unsure what happened. Probably just good old norovirus. But it took him out. And he started to bounce back on Monday. Josh went out of town Monday morning, and he just got back today. So Leo and I have been together just hanging out with each other for 4 days. And we had so much fun. We had so much fun doing nothing and doing errands and doing a couple of special things. It was really good to have my vivacious, sweet, impish, hilarious kid back, finally wanting to eat. We just had a good time. I started reading him a Judy Blume book. I started reading him Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing, and he loves it. And he said that he can't believe how mean those parents were. And I said, oh, so me and Papa are like that? And he said, no, not at all. And like you and I were saying, like we never even blinked at those parents when we were reading it. I think I owned that book. I probably still have it somewhere. But my point is that I had a great time with my kid and got to share Judy Blume with him. And I don't think he had salmonella. So that was good. That was good.
Glad.
We were concerned for a few days that maybe that's what was happening.
That's
so
a lot of barfing for a little body.
Yeah. And like my point of saying that Josh was out of town is that usually, I have ADHD, and it's also like there's no camp this week and there's no school anymore. And so having 4 days that I needed to fill is not something that comes naturally to me. But I did it, and I didn't have to bombard my husband at any point, like going, "Oh my God, I'm fucking flailing here. I can't do it. And like stress him out when he's in New York and can't do anything about it either. So very simple things that made me very happy. Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm out of town next week, and I'm going to be off the grid, so to speak. So the episode we usually get out on a Thursday or a Friday is going to be coming out the following Monday or Tuesday. And then either 4th of July or the day before 4th of July, we'll be getting out that week's episode. I hope that makes sense. It's super late. My point is, you will be getting an episode where we learn more about the backstory of why Jody looked completely terrifying in that photo. That's all I'm trying to say.
Perfect.
I'm not making sense anymore. So with that, everyone, take care of yourselves this week. We hope the beginning of the summer is treating you well.
Yes. The solstice is tomorrow.
It's
Whatever.
nigh.
It's so late.
Yes.
I got to go to bed.
I know. So do I, dude. This is not good. Okay. All right, everyone.
I'm not helping. Sorry.
We'll talk later next week. Well, actually, no. We'll talk to you the week after next week. Bruh.
We're in the weeds.
Honestly, okay. We got to go. All right. Love to everybody. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.